Cheeseheads. Get on your feet. It's Curd and Long. Hosted by Sparky, Fifer, and Ryan Horvat.
It is Curd and Long. See Sparky, Fifer with you. How are you doing? Check out the afternoon show I'm doing nowadays, Wisconsin Sports Daily, 2 to 5 on 1250 AM The Fans. Record this on Tuesday, every Tuesday at 2:40. We have Tuesdays with Tim Dillard, brought to you by Fourth Base Seafood and Steak Restaurant. Of course, that's the bar where Major League, the movie, was shot from. So right over there by American Family Field. Stop over. CJ and the crew will take care of you. The food is delicious. So go check them out. And, of course, Tim Dillard interviews are money every Tuesday on The Fan. He has Ryan Horvat. Their show is money and making you money at that. BetMGM tonight, weeknights, BetQL Radio Network. Stream it on your Odyssey app. Him, Nick Shue, and Trista Crick. Follow him on Twitter at Ryan Horvat. Follow me at Sparky Radio. Packers OTAs underway and going. I am curious from Ryan Horvat's angle, how much are you into following people on Twitter as far as their reports from OTAs, not just probably with the Packers, but from around the National Football League, as you're doing a national show versus me, who's just doing local. How in-depth are you guys on following that stuff?
Oh, yeah, all over it. I mean, I'm all over it. I try to follow most beat reporters, college football and NFL, so selfishly always paying attention to what the Packers are up to, obviously, as a Packers fan. And since we do the podcast, I guess it's also technically work. And then just trying to stay up to date with everything else that's going around the league, like, T. Higgins not showing up to OTAs, certain stuff like
Justin Jefferson. I don't think he's there either, right? Isn't that another one that I don't think showed up?
Yeah, Justin Jefferson as well. I would expect that Justin Jefferson week 1 will probably be suiting up for the Minnesota Vikings. But I think the T. Higgins situation's kind of interesting because he's 25 years old. Maybe he doesn't want to play on the franchise tag. Most likely he ends up showing up as well, though, because nothing's been done yet. But, yeah, try to stay up to date on everything that's going down. And, I like the live tweets about what's going on at practice. I saw our guy Aaron Rodgers. Boom! I brought up his name, had a really good first day. I mean, I know a lot of it doesn't matter, but I want to hear – mainly what I want to know is how the rookies are fitting in at camp, especially the quarterbacks early on, man, like Caleb Williams, Drake May, etc. First-year head coaches, I'm always interested in seeing how things are going. But, again, it's you don't really know what's going to happen with these teams until we actually get into the regular season. Hard Knocks has proven that.
Right. The other thing, too, about OTAs, from my perspective at least, is seeing where guys are being aligned and tried out at. Because it's one thing when you have the post-Packers press conference or whatever team we're talking about, and they say, well, we're going to try him here first, and then we'll kind of see where it goes from there. And then you get to OTAs, and he takes a couple of reps at said position, and the next thing you know, he's at this position, and he's at that position, and they're moving him all over the place. Then it's like, okay, well, how really honest were you about this whole, Jordan Morgan and left tackle thing if he's skedaddling all over the line in the first very OTA session? Like, for instance, right now, their OTAs are going on, and I'm seeing Andy Herman saying, let's see, where is it here? Elton Jenkins getting a look at center. Jordan Morgan back to left tackle. Some real best five stuff going on right now. And that was from Andy Herman, Pack a Day Podcast. And he's a great guy to follow. Paul Brettel, all the Packers beat writers, obviously for the papers and so forth. There's so many people to follow when it comes to Packers practices and OTAs. They all do a great job. But that's what I'm talking about here. Are they really going to take Elton Jenkins and put him, starting at center over Myers? No. They're obviously not going to do that. No. In case of injury, maybe that type of stuff happens. For me, it's interesting because Jordan Morgan has already been at right tackle in the OTA as well. So he's played at right tackle. He's played at left tackle. Royce Newman has already gotten looks at right guard with Sean Ryan. Why is he here? I don't know why Royce Newman's still here. I don't understand. But either way, Royce Newman's still on the team. So dealing with that, obviously over there at right tackle and right guard, that's what I'm interested in as far as, okay, it's OTAs, right? It's not pads. Nobody's trying to necessarily beat you. You're running around in shorts or sweats or whatever the case may be. But it's still fun to kind of see where they are kind of imagining where these guys might fit in these first couple of OTAs, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's something to pay attention to, obviously, because the offensive line is going to look a little bit different. Kind of. I mean, David Bakhtiari is no longer a member of this team, but he hasn't really been healthy in what seems like forever, man. I mean, he played one game last season. So when you draft an offensive lineman who, you know, you're thinking is probably the tackle of the future, that's why you take him in the first round, but he's best fitted as a guard right now. Yeah, you want to see him move around a little bit. Also because injuries happen on that offensive line, especially with this team every single year. So you might have to play a little tackle and a little guard. Ask Elton Jenkins about that, man. He's played pretty much everywhere on the offensive line. But I'm with you. I don't think Elton Jenkins is a center. I think you keep him in his natural position. And that's what I'm interested to see really in the preseason, man, because I think we're pretty much sold on the quarterback is Jordan Love. We like all the wide receivers, although we do want to see who steps up in that room this season because Jaden Reed will be in his second year. Christian Watson, can he actually stay healthy? Romeo Doubs, can he build on what he's been doing? I love Wicks, man. I love all those guys. But who's the alpha male? Is there one even in that locker room? Who steps up? And then on the defensive side of the ball, that's what I'm really interested in, though. You know, because now, like you said, it's OTAs, but I want to see when we get into camp, you got somebody new wearing the green dot. You got some young linebackers. I like the pass rushers. Can never hurt to add more depth at that position. If anybody did become available, I wouldn't mind adding another vet. I mean, I like bringing back Preston Smith because you don't really have any veterans in this locker room. Also, because he is coming off a couple good years, man. It's crazy that Preston Smith is the guy that's still in Green Bay and not Za'Darius, because when me and Nathan bought those jerseys, I was like, I felt bad. Bought my son the Preston Smith jersey. I was like, oh, your guy's going to be gone in 2 years. And oh no, his guy's still here. And my guy's one of the most hated Packers, ex-Packers of all time. But yeah, I want to see the offensive line, where guys fit in. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I kind of want to see everything. My main concerns, young linebackers feel good, like I said, about the pass rushers. Defensive line should be good because you have Kenny Clark. You have Wyatt now, who's another year older. But I'm a little bit worried about the secondary, man. Like, are they going to rely on Eric Stokes finally to stay healthy? Hopefully he does stay healthy because he had a hell of a rookie season, regressed a little bit year 2 before the injury. We feel good about Jair, but also I want to feel a little bit better about Jair even. I mean, he's an all-pro when he's healthy, when he's right, and when he's motivated. I like to see him like a member of this team during the summer because last year I questioned whether he wanted to be in Green Bay.
So let me interrupt here for a second.
For sure.
Devondre Campbell, I don't know if you saw that knucklehead.
I saw
he was back on Twitter again yesterday, talking about he's actually happy again. He's found his love for football again, blah, blah, blah. Okay, first of all, shut up. You were on a practice squad that you ended up getting picked up by the Green Bay Packers, who made you a damn all-pro, and you lost your love for the game for playing under Joe Barry or whatever. Fine. But this brings up Jair Alexander, and I think it's a valid talking point. Did Joe Barry just like rip the heart out of all these defenders and their love of the game and their belief in the game and all that stuff? Were some of these guys so disconnected and not believing in Joe Barry's scheme that they were that disgruntled that it affected others possibly around him? Like Devondre Campbell clearly was disgruntled by how things were being run on defense. Jair, I feel like he was disgruntled as well by as far as how things were being run. So was Joe Barry's presence and what he was doing on defense really causing issues inside that locker room from guys that simply were not buying in, especially the vets?
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, they kind of told us that every offseason the last 3 years. I mean, last year they had the exit interview, with all the players or whatever you call it. And everybody was like, yo, we want to switch some things up, man. This soft zone coverage in the year 2023, 2022, it ain't it. We want to be more physical on the outside, especially. We want to play more press man coverage. And we want to be more aggressive. And we didn't really get that, man. We got that towards the end of the year. And look what happened. They became a real football team. They went into Dallas and beat the Cowboys. Nobody did that all year. They could have beat San Francisco if it wasn't for Dre Greenlaw, picking off Jordan Love a couple times, playing like the all-pro that he is. But, yeah, man, I think that's exactly what it is, what it was, I should say. We've all been there, though. I mean, there are probably a couple guys maybe in that locker room that are Joe Barry guys. They liked Joe Barry. We've all played. I mean, a lot of us have played on football teams, basketball teams, soccer teams, bowling teams, whatever teams where we've liked coaches. we've bought fully in. That coach believed in us, maybe took us aside. But also we've played for that coach that like didn't care about us, right?
You
Maybe
can translate coaches to bosses. Same type of situation.
Right. Every boss has their guy, right? And if you're not their guy, your life probably sucks. So then when you get a better position, maybe it's not even a better position, but you're let go from this position, you go to other position. Hell yeah, like this isn't the real world. So if Devondre Campbell, like let's do it like this, right? If let's say like when we worked for Tom Parker, Tom Parker moves on,
he retired.
That's a bad example because that's media and that's not the real world either. Like let's say my dad quits his post office, right? And he goes to work for another post office. If he gets on social media and he's like, "Oh, I've never been happier delivering the mail. Screw the Naperview post office. Screw you, Doug." Like nobody cares, but we care because it's the NFL. But yeah, I feel like that's like that everywhere, man. Whether you're a postal worker, a janitor, whatever you do,
teacher,
for your profession, teacher. Yeah, like my mom, I shouldn't say that. Yeah, you know what? My mom's retiring at the end of the year. She hates her boss. She's always hated her boss, man. And so if she got another job, she'd probably be like, "Oh, I've never been happier." I feel like that's what's going on with Devondre Campbell. And let's be honest, man. Like Joe Barry did suck at his job.
Yeah, well, the question though is Jair Alexander. Like, will we see a new attitude from Jair Alexander than you had last year? That's the thing, because if it's a happy Jair Alexander like it was last year at the beginning of the season when he had Jordan Love's back, that Jair Alexander is very good for the locker room. The other Jair Alexander may not be so good for the locker room if he's all up in his feelings and angry about life.
Yeah. You know what's the other thing is I feel like he's bought in now because Hafley's, like, let's be honest, watch those press conferences, even when he was at BC. He's like a total alpha male. That's who Joe Barry. I never felt good about Joe Barry after those press conferences, right? Like him and LaFleur make me feel more nervous going into battle. Hafley makes me feel like, all right, let's go break some skulls. And I think that these guys are buying into that. They like the new scheme, whatever it's going to be. Let's wait and see what this new scheme is going to look like. And so now they're fully, bought in. Also, what helps buy in is last year you were a playoff team. You were a game away from going to the NFC Championship game. You were a couple games away from going to the Super Bowl. And I feel like guys have bought into Jordan Love because no longer is Jordan Love the backup quarterback that was kind of scared to do anything because it was Aaron Rodgers' team. And you do not want to get on Aaron Rodgers' bad side. We all know that. Amari Rodgers was tweeting and deleting tweets about being on Aaron Rodgers' bad side, not on his good side, like these guys now on the Jets.
Why does he care what Aaron Rodgers thinks?
He's going to blame Rodgers for him being like Rodgers didn't go out there and fumble those punts, guy. We were all there. But what I'm saying, like, I feel like Jordan Love, like, look at him like this offseason, right? We've already kind of talked about this, but he's hanging out with Colin Kaepernick. He's feeling himself, man. He's got the braids going right now. He's coming off a season where he threw 32 touchdown passes and only 11 picks. He's cool. He's on these podcasts going at former players like, yeah, you were busting my chops earlier on, say I couldn't play. Now what's up? Like, he's cool. He's the dude. He's like Joe Burrow. Like Joe Burrow, I don't know if you saw his team photo. He's got that crazy ass hair and he's just like Brady. I don't know what it is, man. Like Lamar, there's just certain guys you want to be in their huddle. And then there's like certain guys you don't want to be in their huddle. Nobody wanted to be in Brett Hundley's huddle. Nobody wants to be in Zach Wilson's huddle. Nobody wanted to be in Marcus Mariota's huddle.
Don't make people. Jordan Love need to be so mean. Just relax.
What I'm saying is Jordan Love's a guy you want to go out there and like in battle with, man. Like he's cool. He's cool as hell. Like we didn't know that he had this in him, right? Like we saw. People were trying to clown Jordan Love and like put him next to Justin Fields in those social media pics. And it's like Jordan Love, like all scrawny. Now Jordan Love's put on some muscle. You know what it reminds me of a little bit? Remember when Jordan used to get the crap kicked out of him by the Pistons and then he came back and he put on some muscle?
Yeah.
Or hey, what about Giannis those first couple of years? We were like, damn, this kid could play. All the vets were like, how old are you? And he was like 19. They're like, now Giannis, his shoulders are bigger than you and I, Spark.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Like Jordan Love's a worker. That's why I feel good about your boy Anthony Richardson in Indianapolis. He's a worker. There's certain guys, I don't know if they're workers or not. Like, I see him during the offseason, and I don't feel good about him. I feel really good about this Packers team. In fact, I already bet them they're going to beat the Eagles. They might beat the hell out of the Eagles week 1 with that young secondary, too. Jordan Love is going to be the MVP of the league this year.
Stop with that nonsense. Please, can we stop with the MVP nonsense? Please, I beg you. I beg everybody to stop. I did not think that would ever come out of your mouth, so I wasn't prepared to deal with it on this podcast. We could have done a whole podcast just on that. I did not see this coming from you. Now, Winkler, if he says it, okay, I fully expect Bart to come at me with Jordan Love MVP. Fine, I get Bart would do it. You, Horvat, not so much. I thought you would stay far away from the man being MVP. The man has to get to a Pro Bowl or 2 first. The man, has to take steps. I think it's a lot of pressure and a lot of undue pressure to start putting MVP type stuff on Jordan Love in his second year as a starter, considering in the first half of last year, he wasn't very good. Now, again, wasn't his fault. Right? I said it last year to you, and you didn't want to hear it, that those receivers didn't know what the hell they were doing, and that was causing all the problems that they were having. You're like, I don't know, man. He don't look like he's getting better to me. And then, Pandora's box opened after the Steelers game, and he looked like an MVP at that point. I don't like the MVP talk. We want to have this talk after this upcoming season. He throws for 4,700 yards and 40 touchdowns or whatever. Okay, we can have it. Let's do a full season of what the second half of last season looked like. Then we can have the MVP conversation. This feels like being a Bucs fan and looking at the Bucs and going, oh, yeah, look at there. Larry Sanders had a great year. Let's pay him like he's going to do this every year. And then you pay him and you're like, uh-oh, well, that didn't work out so well. I mean, I've seen it. I'm not saying he's Larry Sanders because he's not. You talk about working. Jordan Love's obviously a worker, and I get that. I just don't like the undue pressure. He's got enough pressure. He's a quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. He's following Brett. He's following Aaron. He don't need you when everybody else are talking about, oh, he's an MVP candidate this year. Just stop. We don't need it. Just don't say it, please.
All right. I'm going to ask one favor of you, and I'll never ask another favor ever.
Lies.
Well, I might ask, can I have 10 minutes before we record the pod because I'm literally running home from physical therapy, and they stuck a needle in my back today. I need you to clip this for social media because I'm going to do something right now, and I need this on X or Twitter or whatever the hell. Yeah. I need this clipped. All right. Right now, Jordan Love, what does this tell you? He has the 4th best odds to win MVP. The Packers, their win total this season is 10.5.
Where's this coming from? What site?
So, of course, BetMGM, the king of sports books, the sports book that I love using the most. I'm going to go there right now once again, right? I have a free $100 bet. Sign up a friend too. So I'm going to use that right now. Jordan Love is 13-1. I'm going to bet Jordan Love one more time. I've already bet him 14-1. I'm going to bet him one more time. Why do you think that that's so crazy? Like, look at his numbers last year. First year behind center, 32 touchdown passes, only 11 interceptions, a 96.1 QB rating, threw for over 4,000 yards and completed 64% of his passes. And let's not forget, other than week 1 where he was pretty good against Chicago, everything was kind of a mess the first couple weeks of the season because the Packers lived off of everything had to be an explosive play because Jordan Love wasn't hitting the intermediate. They weren't doing anything in the middle of the field. Let's be honest. Matt LaFleur didn't believe in Jordan Love as a quarterback until week 8, week 9. The offense was a mess. Now he's got a full offseason, all those weapons. I think Jordan Love has a real legit chance, and you're getting a 13-1 price. I would rather bet that than the Packers to win over 10.5 games or bet them, 2-1 to win the division where you already have Detroit, who might have the best offense in the league. We'll see with the pass defense if it's improved. You have Minnesota's probably in a rebuild year. Chicago's going to be better than they've been in years, and they also have the privilege of not having to play a divisional game until, week 11? So by the time Green Bay sees Caleb Williams, he'll be a totally different quarterback. But I like this. Jordan Love, I'm betting it right now at BetMGM, 13-1 to win MVP. Call me a Jordan Love hater now. You're the hater. I am not a Jordan Love hater. I am buying in, and I already bet the Packers 25-1 to win the Super Bowl. This should be one of the better
very
offenses in the league. We just need the defense to actually show up. There you go. All right.
A couple of things of what you just said. Let's talk about that. First of all, I don't think it was LaFleur not trusting Jordan Love in the first half of the season. It was LaFleur not trusting his receivers and tight ends and left tackle and offensive line for protecting Jordan Love. I think everybody else was the one in question with Matt LaFleur, more so than the quarterback. Quarterback was his last concern. Everybody else had to do their job first before you could evaluate the quarterback, which, again, I said on Curtin Long last year when all hell was breaking loose around Jordan Love and saying it wasn't his fault. And then once everybody got on the same page and he saw it in the Steelers game, he's like, okay, let's open it up and see if they can handle it. And he opened it up, and not only did they handle it, they played at a very high level. I'm not saying I don't think that he can win the MVP next year. He might win the MVP next year. All I'm saying is I don't like that expectation year 2 as a starter with the youngest team in the National Football League and saying, you're going to be the guy. Maybe he is the guy. Maybe he wins the MVP. Maybe that happens. Great if he does. That would be amazing. I love Jordan Love. All I'm saying is I don't like the expectation put on his head. He's got enough going on following 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Now it's going to be, well, you were 4th ranked in MVP voting, and you didn't have that same year that you were supposed to have. Maybe you're not the guy that we all thought you were. Then I'm going to have to hear that at the end of next season because everybody's going to get their hopes up listening to Horvat over here on Curtin Long about how he's gonna go contend for the MVP. And then if he doesn't have that year, then what's the conversation going to be? Well, he's not the guy we thought. Maybe we should draft somebody else. And then we're going to go.
We don't care about MVPs. The other guy, that quack, he won all the MVPs. How many Super Bowls this show? 1. I hope, you know what, Spark? I hope Jordan Love, I hope I lose this $100, but I win the $2,500 because they win the Super Bowl. I hope he never wins an MVP. What I'm saying, though, is, I would rather bet Jordan Love to win MVP than Kirk Cousins coming off that injury, right? I know he's got Kyle Pitts and he's got Drake London. You know what else they got? Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. I'm not betting Jalen Hurts after what I saw last year. He should be much better. He was also a little bit dinged last year. In the AFC, everybody's good. Do I feel good about Josh Allen, who's wide receiver number 1? Joe Burrow's hurt every other year, and T. Higgins might not show up to camp. I'm saying, right now, Jordan Love might be in one of the better positions, and you're getting a 13-1 price. So if you do enjoy betting, it's something to cheer for all season long. And I think he's going to be in the running because weren't you just saying a couple weeks ago this should be one of the better offenses in the league? Well, he's the vroom, vroom.
Yep.
He's the engineer. Now I'm all fired up. I wish the season, I want to go to Brazil right now, get on the beach, show off the bod, and then go watch the Eagles get absolutely curb stomped. That bum Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, Nick Sirianni. But again, he's got it. Yeah, Sirianni may be a fraud after all. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Now, this leads right into the second topic here, which is great because Horvat's all pumped up. Who or what are you most excited to see this Packer season? Jair Alexander and Eric Stokes and OTAs are the starting corners as we sit here right now. Stokes is apparently healthy and out there running around and playing. So that's obviously a good thing. Jordan Love, as you heard Horvat say over at BetMGM, he is 4th favored to win the odds. I got to say, I'm more excited to see something else than I am to kind of see all of that. I want to see how the tight ends play out. Now, having said that, Mr. Kraft just got married. Did you see that? He got married. Tucker Kraft got married, and then apparently, according
I thought you meant
not Robert Kraft, Tucker Kraft. Yeah, no,
again,
Tucker Kraft. So he's at OTAs. Andy Herman said he got his arm in a sling. He just got married this weekend. That had to be a hell of a wedding, apparently, or wedding reception. This guy's arm in a sling. So I don't know how hurt he is. I'm sure we'll find that out from Matt LaFleur at some point after we're done with this podcast. But providing Kraft can go this year and is healthy to play, I'm most excited to see how LaFleur's brain works in creating an offense where you attack with the plethora of wide receivers that you have, plus multiple tight ends and the running backs that you have. To me, I am so excited to see what this offense looks like and how it plays, right? So when he got here, it was, we're going to be like Tennessee. We're going to run the ball a lot, and it's going to be 50-50 split and so forth. Well, then Jordan Love does what he does in the second half. So is it still 50-50 split, or is it going to be, heck with this, man, passing's more fun. Jordan, we're going to win this bad boy 40 times a game. We're going to throw it all over the field and try and make big plays. I want to see the offense. I know everybody's excited about the defense. I'm more scared about the defense because I feel like everybody's getting their hopes up that this defense is going to be something special. And I'm petrified because every time we get a new defensive coordinator, we think something's going to change and it ends up being the same crap. So I'm more concerned about getting excited for that before we actually see it. I know they have a good offense. I want to see just how creative Matt LaFleur gets with this offense from a play design perspective. Who was it? Is it JT O'Sullivan? Is that the guy that does the quarterback videos or whatever, right? Yeah. That dude, that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to watching that dude's videos during the season and having him ooh and ah at LaFleur's play designs on offense when Jordan Love is making big plays. That's what I'm looking forward to. That's what I'm excited about. Horvat, what about you?
Yeah, same, man. I want to see how creative LaFleur gets because now you got more weapons to work with. I mean, if Christian Watson's healthy, that's huge. But you have Wicks, you have Torrey, you have Bo Melton, who my mom absolutely loves, Bo Melton, who we had never talked about on this podcast. You have Jaden Reed, you have Malik Heath, you have, like you said, the tight ends, Tucker Kraft, you have Luke Musgrave. But now you also have Marshawn Lloyd as well. And I want to see how they use him. I would love him on the field with Josh Jacobs, maybe even with A.J. Dillon, because like I said, there's probably still a role for A.J. Dillon because Lloyd struggles a little bit in pass pro. You're going to want to protect Jordan Love, especially because you're going to give him a bunch of money. Right. So I think that's where A.J. Dillon still has a role for one more year on this team. And then Lloyd eventually becomes your 3 down, every down back, hopefully, and you can move on from Jacobs. And that's why essentially this is a 1-year, 2-year deal even for him. But Lloyd is going to be a stud. I would love him to be the gadget guy, like what we kind of wanted Tyler Ervin and all those bums to be, like a guy that could actually scare a defense, though. So I do think that they're going to want to run the ball, man. I mean, you're going to have 3 backs on this team, maybe 4. So I do think it's going to – I don't know about a 50-50 split with all these wide receivers and Jordan Love in the shotgun and 4 and 5 wide receiver and 2 tight end sets and everything else that they could run. But, man, I mean – they could get really, really creative. And the other thing is now all these guys got another year in this offense because remember year 1 with Rodgers, we heard about how complicated the offense was. And then year 2 is when Rodgers won MVP, right? Back MVPs. Now, also a lot of that was Aaron Rodgers is really good. And we know that he likes to go rogue. And
he had Devontae Adams.
And that Devontae Adams guy helped too. So, yeah, but I'm excited for the offense. I'm excited for the defense. As far as like players that I'm most excited to see, I mean, you kind of said it. I really want to see if you could get anything from Eric Stokes. I want to see which corner emerges if it's not Eric Stokes. Because like you said, I don't think it's going to be a whole lot of Keyshawn Nixon.
They're saying people I think it was Herman or somebody on Twitter said, it looks like Valentine put on some muscle. Looks like he's bigger. And again, you're going to have to be bigger if you're going to play up. And play press, Ryan, you've got to be bigger because you got to be able to hand fight and deal with these wide receivers.
Exactly. You would think that like he'd be all in this offseason, man, because he's got he's going to be on the field, whether it's, nickel corner, whatever he's going to be playing, whatever you want to do in this defense.
Nickel today was Nixon. Keyshawn Nixon was with the starting 11. It was Stokes, Alexander, and Keyshawn Nixon when the starting 11 went out there. And it was Anthony Johnson Jr. next to McKinney at the safety position.
Yeah, I don't know that means a whole lot yet. No. I want to wait and see. But no.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but that's what I want to see is where the secondary, where all these pieces fit, and definitely what the offense looks like. I'm jacked.
Okay, we only got like a minute or so left here. But before we do, I don't know if you saw the video that was on social media. I said on Wisconsin Sports Daily, weekday afternoons, 2 to 5 on the Fan in Milwaukee, that the Aaron Jones leaving thing didn't really bother me. Like, hey, they kind of screwed you, whatever the case may be. They didn't want to pay you, so you left to go get money somewhere else. It's not the same necessarily as when Brett left and how that whole thing played out, or even Aaron and how that whole thing played out. But this is completely different. Like, it's when Edgar Bennett went to the Bears. So the Packers were done with him. So go where you want to go. I'm not going to be mad at you. Like, if they're done, they're done. And they were done with Aaron Jones, apparently. So he took the most money he could get, which was $7 million, and went to the Vikings. And I was okay with it. Like, okay, fine, whatever. And then I saw a video this morning of him wearing 33 with an ugly ass purple on. And I'm just like, ugh. He's looking quick, cutting. and you're just like, man, oh man, I'm going to miss watching Aaron Jones in a Packers uniform. And it kind of hit me. It really kind of hit me. We haven't seen him in a game. It was just him running around in shorts at an OTA from Minnesota. And it kind of hit me like, damn. Because I remember you and I both were like, when they got Josh Jacobs, I was like, Josh Jacobs and Aaron Jones? Oh, hot damn. This is going to be the best backfield in football. That's when we did the podcast. And then we find out after we do the podcast that day that Aaron Jones is no longer a Packer, and we were absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, man. I don't know if it's a hot take. I would rather have Aaron Jones than Josh Jacobs. I hope I'm wrong, right? But I think Aaron Jones is going to come back to haunt us. Maybe once, maybe twice. We'll see this year. But I do think that he's going to have a monster year. It just comes down to, can Aaron Jones stay healthy? He was awesome the final couple of weeks of the season. Like, that's the reason that Green Bay went on the run, other than Jordan Love playing great. The reason that Jordan Love was able to play so well is the run game finally got going, and Aaron Jones finally got going. But he's got to stay healthy. And I won't miss the fumbles in the big games. You can't put the ball on the carpet. And, that's the only thing I really won't miss about Aaron Jones. But, like, the ultimate teammate, good dude on and off the field, and a really good football player. So I'm going to miss him. And he always killed the Vikings. So now he comes back most likely to kill us. I'm with you, though. Like, Greg Jennings, the only person that it ever hurt was Favre. When Brett went to Minnesota, I didn't care when he went to New York, right? Like, if you go to AFC teams, don't care. But when Brett went to Minnesota, that one stung.
And forced his way there. He told the Jets, I'm retiring. And the Jets said, no, hold on. Okay, if we get Mark Sanchez, then we'll let you out and you can do what you want to do. You remember that? And they were able to get Mark Sanchez, and the Jets said, all right, fine. Go where you want to go. Don't care. We know this is all about getting to Minnesota, so do what you want. And they let him go. But if they don't get Mark Sanchez, they don't let him out of his deal, and he's under rights by the Jets. That Minnesota thing never, ever would have happened if they don't get Mark Sanchez.
Crazy, man.
I'll never forget that. That was nuts. He is Ryan Horvat. Follow on BetMGM tonight. They do a great job over there weeknights, part of the BetQL Radio Network, streaming on your Odyssey app during the games, as well as tell you in-game betting advice, West Coast games, look ahead, some future bets, all that good stuff. Again, BetMGM tonight, weeknights. Follow me at Sparky Radio. You can check out Wisconsin Sports Daily, weekday afternoons 2 to 5 on 1250 AM The Fan. You can also stream us on the Odyssey app too. And we'll give you the live updates from the OTAs. Paul Breitel will join us coming up this afternoon on Tuesday here. He's at all the OTAs. He'll join us at 3:35. So Tim Dillard talking Brewers, Paul Breitel talking that. Did you see the Josh Hader article on ESPN today? Holy crap. We're leading the show with that one.
You got it.
I could not believe what I read in the Josh Hader piece on ESPN. Maybe we will. Yeah, no, I got to lead with it. I know it's Packer OTAs. Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do now. Packer OTAs are going up. That Josh Hader article is going to blow your mind if you have not read it. Go read it and then listen to Wisconsin Sports Daily. All right, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll do this bad boy again, I guess Thursday probably will be the next one. Have a good one. Toodles.